Far beyond the silver-crested ridges of the ancient sands, where the distant horizon melted into a soft velvet curtain of twilight, lay the vast and timeless expanse of the great sunlit desert. By day, this desert was a sprawling kingdom of blinding golden dunes and shimmering thermal waves, but as the sun dipped beneath the western hills, a profound and welcome hush descended over the land. The fierce glare of afternoon softened into gentle shades of twilight indigo, rich amber, and deep sapphire blue. The wind, which had blown fiercely during the heat of midday, quieted to a gentle whisper that swept smoothly over the softly rolling contours of sand, smoothing away the sharp crests and leaving behind a pristine tapestry of quiet shadows. In a quiet, peaceful village tucked near the outer edge of the desert oasis, where tall date palms swayed softly in the evening cool, lived a young traveler named Amira. Amira was a cartographer of forgotten places, a quiet seeker who gathered stories of hidden sanctuaries and ancient natural wonders across the world. She possessed a heart deeply attuned to the subtle songs of the night, preferring the tranquility of starlight to the bustling noise of crowded city squares and busy market streets. Beside her walked Zephyr, a silver-furred desert fox with soft amber eyes, large attentive ears, and a calm, comforting presence. Zephyr had been her constant companion for many years, always walking with silent paws across the cooling sand, sensing the soft currents of the night air long before they brushed past the high dunes. On this particular evening, the sky above was clearer than polished glass. A thin crescent moon hung like a silver crescent boat in the celestial ocean, surrounded by millions of glittering stars that cast a gentle, pale milky glow across the vast landscape. For many months, Amira had heard tales whispered by elderly merchants around quiet evening campfires. They spoke in low, reverent tones of a legendary haven hidden deep within the heart of the desert, the secret oasis of Al-Zahra, often called the Flower of the Sands. Legend told that the secret oasis was not marked on any map made by human hands. It was fed by ancient subterranean springs that flowed from deep crystal caverns beneath the bedrock of the earth, maintaining a lush, perpetually blossoming garden concealed within a ring of towering rose-colored sandstone canyons. Those who entered its quiet embrace were said to feel all weariness melt away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of peace, deep relaxation, and restorative stillness. Amira checked her leather satchel, ensuring she carried her journal, a brass compass, and a small flask of sweet spring water. Zephyr looked up at her with a gentle tilt of his head, his silvery tail brushing softly against the fine sand. With a calm smile, Amira gestured toward the open expanse of dunes stretching endlessly under the starry sky. Together, they stepped forward into the cool desert night, embarking on their peaceful journey to find the sanctuary that lay waiting in the heart of the wilderness. Every breath drawn in the quiet desert night carried the faint scent of dried amber, wild sage, and cooling quartz. Amira walked with a slow, deliberate pace, mindful of every soft step upon the shifting sands. The vast silence stretching across the dunes was like a quiet lullaby, washing over the mind, dissolving every lingering worry of the day. The desert fox Zephyr stepped gracefully beside her, his soft paws making almost no sound upon the golden earth. The silver moon above beamed like a gentle lantern, lighting their peaceful way toward the secret horizon. With every slow breath, the mind settles into a deeper realm of quiet rest. The soft night wind whispering over the cool sand dunes carries away all thoughts of the busy world, leaving only a sense of profound stillness and peace. The heart beats slow and steady, matching the eternal rhythm of the desert night. The night air was pleasantly crisp, refreshing against the skin after the long warmth of the sunlit hours. The sand beneath Amira's boots had shed its midday heat, feeling fine, soft, and delightfully cool, yielding gently with every step she took. The silence of the desert was not empty or cold, rather, it was a rich, living quietness filled with subtle, soothing rhythms. The soft crunching of steps, the rustle of Zephyr's soft fur as he moved with effortless grace, and the faint hum of night breezes weaving through the high ridges of sand created a serene melody that calmed the mind and slowed the pulse. As they crested the first high dune, Amira paused to gaze back at the fading lights of the village. The small clay lanterns in the distance twinkled like fallen stars before disappearing behind the swelling contours of gold and shadow. Ahead lay the untamed beauty of the open desert. Dunes stretched out in every direction, looking like frozen waves of a vast golden ocean caught beneath the cool pale light of the moon. Zephyr trotted ahead slightly, his silvery coat catching the moonlight so that he looked like a soft streak of starlight guiding the way. He stopped at the top of a gentle slope, sniffing the cool breeze that carried the faintest hint of something sweet and moist, a subtle fragrance reminiscent of night-blooming jasmine, crushed lavender, and damp earth, impossibly delicate amid the dry desert landscape. Amira opened her brass compass. The needle shimmered faintly in the moonlight, pointing steadily northward toward the range of distant mountains whose jagged silhouettes rose like sleeping giants against the starry horizon. According to the old tales, the path to the secret oasis began where the low dunes gave way to the ancient dry riverbeds carved long ago when the world was young and full of water. They walked at an unhurried, rhythmic pace. There was no rush in the desert night. Time seemed to stretch and slow down, expanding until every breath felt deep, nourishing, and calm. Amira looked up at the sky, tracing the constellations that had guided wanderers for thousands of years. The celestial swan spread its luminous wings across the zenith, while the silver serpent curved gracefully near the eastern horizon. Each star burned with a steady, tranquil light, watching over the quiet earth below. The stillness of the open dunes expanded in all directions, creating an immense room of tranquil quiet under the sky. Amira paused to watch a soft drift of fine sand slide gently down the face of a high dune, moving in slow motion like a river of golden silk. The wind sang a low, soothing note across the ridges, a sound as ancient as the stars themselves. Zephyr rested his ears back in quiet contentment, enjoying the fresh night air. Every breath in this vast, open wilderness brought a deeper sense of relaxation and inner quiet. As you listen to the quiet narrative of starlight and soft winds, imagine the gentle warmth of the oasis surrounding you. Every muscle in your shoulders and neck softens and releases all tension. You are safe, calm, and completely sheltered in this quiet garden of peace. After nearly 2 hours of peaceful walking, the topography began to change. The tall, sweeping sand dunes gradually smoothed out into flat plains of firm clay intermingled with smooth, colorful pebbles polished by wind and time. Here and there, hardy desert flora grew in sparse, resilient clusters, silver sagebrush that released a warm, herbal scent when brushed by the wind, and low-growing desert lavender with delicate pale blossoms that glowed softly under the moonlight. Zephyr paused beside a cluster of smooth, rounded stones near the entrance of a dry creek bed. The riverbed was lined with polished white quartz pebbles that reflected the moonlight like a winding stream of liquid silver. Amira sat down gently on a flat rock to rest for a moment. She took a small sip from her water flask, letting the cool liquid refresh her throat. Zephyr settled down beside her boots, resting his chin upon his crossed paws, his eyes half closed in deep. She took out her notebook and carefully sketched the pattern of the landscape, the curving line of the dry creek, the silhouette of the distant hills, and the bright beacon of the North Star guiding their journey. As she drew, she felt a profound stillness settle deep within her chest. The worries of daily life faded into insignificance, replaced by a quiet awe for the beauty of the natural world. Standing in the quartz riverbed, Amira looked up at the vast cosmic tapestry unfolded overhead. The Milky Way shone like a river of diamonds, winding gracefully across the dark blue dome of heaven. She felt small yet perfectly connected to the great harmony of creation. The white quartz stones underfoot gleamed like fallen stars, creating a luminous pathway through the dark valley. Beside her, Zephyr let out a quiet sigh of complete peace, his silver fur reflecting the ethereal starlight. In this sanctuary of silence, there are no obligations, no rush, and no worries. The vast starry sky stretches overhead like an endless ocean of quiet beauty, inviting you to let go of wakefulness and surrender to restful sleep. Rising from her rest, Amira stepped into the dry riverbed, following its winding path toward the north. The riverbed functioned as a natural highway through the desert terrain, flanked on either side by low banks of red sandstone that absorbed the cool night air. The footing was smooth and easy, allowing Amira and Zephyr to maintain their steady, peaceful rhythm. As they walked deeper along the dry riverbed, the canyon walls on either side began to rise gradually higher. What had started as low mounds of sandstone transformed into towering cliffs of layered rock, carved over millennia by ancient water and wind. The walls displayed intricate patterns of crimson, ochre, amber, and deep purple, muted into soft pastels under the gentle glow of the moon. The air within the canyon grew noticeably cooler and fresher. The wind passing through the narrow rock channels created a soft, flute-like melody, a gentle, resonant hum that sounded like a lullaby sung by the stone itself. This was the entrance to the Whispering Canyons, one of the key landmarks mentioned in the old merchants' tales. Zephyr walked with a playful spring in his step, his sensitive ears turning slightly toward the musical stone walls. Amira listened intently to the soothing acoustics of the canyon. The gentle echo of their footsteps seemed to blend harmoniously with the whispering winds, creating an atmosphere of deep peace and quiet mystery. High above, the canyon walls framed a narrow ribbon of deep blue sky, packed tightly with twinkling stars. Occasionally, a falling star would streak across the open strip of heaven, leaving a fleeting tail of sparkling white light before vanishing into the dark. Amira made a quiet wish with each shooting star, not for wealth or renown, but for safety, wisdom, and the preservation of peaceful places in the world. Inside the canyon walls, the acoustic resonance of the stone created a hypnotic soundscape. The gentle night breeze hummed through narrow rock fissures like a quiet organ pipe, producing continuous soft notes that lulled the senses into deep relaxation. Amira felt her shoulders drop and her body loosen as she walked along the smooth sandstone floor. The majestic rock layers, built up over millions of years, stood as quiet witnesses to the passage of time, offering an unbroken sanctuary of peace. The silver fox Zephyr rests his head comfortably, his breathing slow, deep, and peaceful. Beside him under the moonlit canopy of date palms and blooming jasmine, every breath brings a feeling of restorative stillness. The canyon path wound gracefully in long, sweeping curves. Around each bend lay new stone formations sculpted by nature into wondrous shapes. Some rocks resembled grand archways that spanned across the canyon floor, while others looked like silent guardians standing watch over the sacred passage. In the sheltered alcoves along the base of the canyon walls, Amira noticed small patches of damp soil. Tiny mosses of vivid green clung to the shaded rock faces, glistening with delicate droplets of dew. The presence of moisture was a clear sign that water lay not far beneath the surface, traveling through unseen subterranean veins hidden deep within the bedrock. Zephyr stopped near a natural basin hollowed out of the sandstone wall. Within the basin sat a clear, still pool of water no larger than a silver plate. The water was so transparent that the pebbles at the bottom were perfectly visible, bathed in the soft glow of the moon reflected on the surface. Zephyr dipped his lap into the cool water, drinking gently before stepping back with a satisfied nudge against Amira's hand. Amira knelt beside the basin and dipped her fingers into the water. It was delightfully cool and refreshing, soothing her skin. She washed her face and hands, feeling an immediate sensation of renewed calm and lightness. The water tasted crisp and sweet, imbued with minerals from the heart of the mountain. She knew they were drawing closer to the secret oasis. The signs were becoming increasingly clear: the rising humidity in the air, the appearance of lush mosses and delicate ferns, and the rich, soothing fragrance of blossoms that grew stronger with every step forward through the winding canyon. The tiny natural basin nestled in the rock wall was a true gift of nature. As Amira looked down into the crystal water, she watched small air bubbles rise slowly from the deep spring below, sparkling like submerged diamonds in the moonlight. The water was pure, invigorating, and sweet. Zephyr sat quietly beside the basin, his tail resting peacefully against the sandstone floor. The quiet presence of water in the middle of the desert was a gentle reminder of life's resilience and beauty. Feel the soothing coolness of the night air as it brushes softly across your skin, bringing the delicate fragrances of night-blooming lilies, sweet cedar, and fresh spring water. Your mind is quiet, serene, and clear as you sink into blissful sleep. As they continued along the canyon floor, the passageway narrowed into a tall, majestic cleft in the solid rock. The canyon walls rose hundreds of feet into the air, almost touching at the top, leaving only a thin slit of moonlight to illuminate the path. Yet despite the darkness, the canyon was far from dark. Embedded within the sandstone walls were tiny veins of bioluminescent minerals and glowing mosses that emitted a soft, ethereal blue-green radiance. The gentle light cast a dreamy glow over the smooth stone walls, lighting the way with a magical, serene illumination that felt as though they were stepping into a dream. Zephyr walked through the glowing passage with complete calm, his silver coat reflecting the soft aquamarine light. Amira marveled at the quiet beauty of the place. There was no sound here except for the soft drip of water droplets falling from high stalactites into hidden pools below, a rhythmic, gentle tapping like the ticking of a slow, peaceful clock measuring timeless moments. Each droplet of water echoed softly through the cleft, creating a calming rhythm that encouraged deep, slow breathing. Amira found herself matching her breath to the cadence of the water, breathing in quiet peace, breathing out all lingering tension and weariness. With every step, the air grew warmer and sweeter. The cool draft of the outer desert gave way to a gentle, tropical warmth, laden with the perfume of blooming orchids, wild vanilla, and fresh mountain springs. The narrow cleft began to widen again ahead, revealing a soft, warm golden glow filtering through the exit. The bioluminescent passage felt like stepping into a realm of pure enchantment. Soft teal and azure lights glowed from tiny mosses and crystal veins in the rock, casting a magical illumination over the smooth path. Amira walked slowly, admiring the delicate patterns of light that danced across the canyon walls. There was no noise here, only the soft rhythm of water droplets falling into hidden pools, a cadence so steady and peaceful that it invited the mind into a state of effortless meditation. With every slow breath, the mind settles into a deeper realm of quiet rest. The soft night wind whispering over the cool sand dunes carries away all thoughts of the busy world, leaving only a sense of profound stillness and peace. The heart beats slow and steady, matching the eternal rhythm of the desert night. Stepping through the final archway of rock, Amira and Zephyr emerged into a vast, hidden amphitheater cradled within a ring of majestic sandstone cliffs. Amira gasped softly in wonder, taking in a sight of extraordinary beauty that surpassed even the grandest legends she had heard. Spread out before them lay the secret oasis of Al-Zahra. At its center was a wide, crystal-clear lake whose calm surface reflected the star-filled sky so perfectly that the water looked like a mirror opening into the heavens. Surrounded by high cliff walls that blocked all harsh desert winds, the lake was completely still, rippling only when gentle drops fell from overhanging vines. Lush vegetation blanketed the shores of the lake. Towering date palms with elegant, fanning fronds rose high into the night air, their leaves whispering softly in the mild breeze. Groves of pomegranate, fig, and citrus trees filled the air with a sweet, comforting orchard scent. Beneath the trees grew dense carpets of emerald moss, soft grass, and thousands of night-blooming flowers, white moon-lilies, golden lotus blossoms, and fragrant jasmine that opened their petals under the silver light of the moon. Small streams of crystal water trickled down the cliff faces in graceful waterfalls, tumbling into natural stone basins before flowing into the central lake. The sound of cascading water was soft and melodic, creating a continuous, relaxing white noise that filled the entire oasis with a sense of profound serenity. Zephyr let out a soft, happy chirp and trotted down the grassy slope toward the water's edge. Amira followed slowly, her boots stepping onto the cool, soft grass that felt like a thick velvet carpet beneath her feet. She felt an immediate, overwhelming sense of peace envelope her, as if the oasis possessed a living warmth that welcomed every gentle visitor into its heart. The first view of the secret oasis of Al-Zahra was breathtaking in its peaceful majesty. The grand amphitheater of rose sandstone sheltered a paradise of calm turquoise water, lush date palms, and blossoming gardens. The scent of blooming jasmine and moon-lilies drifted across the lake on a warm breeze, filling the air with sweet tranquility. Amira stepped onto the soft green grass, feeling as though she had entered a holy sanctuary carved by nature for rest and restoration. As you listen to the quiet narrative of starlight and soft winds, imagine the gentle warmth of the oasis surrounding you. Every muscle in your shoulders and neck softens and releases all tension. You are safe, calm, and completely sheltered in this quiet garden of peace. Amira walked along the edge of the crystal lake, watching small bioluminescent fish glide gracefully through the transparent water, leaving faint trails of soft light in their wake. The water was so clear that she could see smooth white pebbles and colorful river stones lining the shallow bottom. Along the bank stood several ancient marble structures, ruins of an old pavilion built centuries ago by travelers who had cherished this secret haven. The marble pillars were draped in green ivy and sweet-scented night jasmine, standing strong and timeless against the backdrop of sandstone cliffs. Near the center of the shore stood a low circular gazebo crafted from smooth alabaster stone. Inside the gazebo sat a comfortable bench carved from smooth cedar wood, positioned to look out across the tranquil expanse of the lake. Amira walked up the low steps of the gazebo and sat down upon the bench. Zephyr leaped up lightly beside her, curling his body into a cozy circle against her leg. He rested his head on her knee, his eyes gleaming with quiet happiness before gently closing in deep relaxation. Amira leaned back against the smooth wood, closing her eyes for a moment to absorb the rich tapestry of sounds and scents surrounding her. The soft rustle of palm fronds, the gentle splashing of distant waterfalls, the sweet fragrance of night flowers, and the soothing warmth of the night air combined into an atmosphere of perfect tranquility. She felt the tiredness of the long walk dissolve from her muscles, replaced by a deep, comforting sensation of weightlessness and ease. In this hidden sanctuary, sheltered from the vastness of the desert and the noise of the outer world, time lost all meaning. There was only the present moment, calm, restful, and complete. Inside the alabaster gazebo, the air was still and comfortably warm. Amira sat upon the cedar bench, watching the calm waters of the lake mirror the glittering stars above. Zephyr lay curled tightly at her side, his breathing slow and rhythmic. The gentle splashing of small streams flowing down the distant cliffs provided a soothing background melody that lulled every muscle into a state of complete, heavy relaxation. In this sanctuary of silence, there are no obligations, no rush, and no worries. The vast starry sky stretches overhead like an endless ocean of quiet beauty, inviting you to let go of wakefulness and surrender to restful sleep. As the night deepened into its quietest hours, the sky above the secret oasis grew even more spectacular. The stars seemed to burn brighter here, unclouded by dust or haze, filling every corner of the dark expanse with brilliant silver points of light. The Milky Way stretched across the heavens like a river of luminous stardust. Amira opened her journal once more, wanting to record the beauty of Al-Zahra so she would never forget its peaceful magic. She wrote in slow, deliberate script, describing the clear turquoise waters, the fragrant night-blooming gardens, the singing waterfalls, and the profound silence that held the oasis in a warm embrace. Yet as she wrote, she realized that the true secret of the oasis was not merely its visual beauty, but the deep internal quiet it bestowed upon the soul. It was a place where one could let down all defenses, quiet the restless mind, and simply exist in peaceful harmony with nature. A gentle breeze blew across the lake, carrying tiny golden specks of pollen from the lotus flowers that drifted lazily through the air like floating stars. The air felt warm and soft, like a gentle hand brushing over her hair. Zephyr let out a long, quiet breath in his sleep, his silver chest rising and falling in a slow, rhythmic cadence. Amira stroked his back softly, feeling the steady warmth of his fur. She set her journal aside on the cedar bench, content to simply sit and absorb the serene magic of the night. As the midnight hour approached, the sky above Al-Zahra burned with thousands of brilliant stars. The reflection of the Milky Way across the lake created the illusion of floating in the center of the universe. Amira wrote quiet thoughts in her journal, recording the profound peace of the oasis. Yet she knew that the true gift of this place was the deep quiet it cultivated within her own heart, a stillness that would remain long after her journey ended. The silver fox Zephyr rests his head comfortably, his breathing slow, deep, and peaceful. Beside him under the moonlit canopy of date palms and blooming jasmine, every breath brings a feeling of restorative stillness. In the surrounding trees, small desert nightingales began to sing. Their songs were slow, clear, and melodious, echoing softly off the canyon walls in gentle harmony with the trickling waterfalls. Unlike the busy bird songs of the dawn, the nightingale's song was meditative and calm, designed to lull the sleeping world into deeper rest. Amira watched as a mother desert deer and her small fawn emerged quietly from the shadow of the date palms. The deer walked gracefully to the water's edge, dipping their heads to drink from the clear lake. They showed no fear of Amira or Zephyr, sensing the absolute safety and harmony that governed the oasis. After drinking, the fawn rested its head against its mother's flank, settling down onto a patch of soft clover beneath a flowering orange tree. The mother deer stood watch for a moment before kneeling beside her fawn, closing her eyes as the night breeze whispered through the branches above. Seeing the peaceful animals at rest brought a warm smile to Amira's face. The entire oasis was a sanctuary of life and rest, a sacred refuge where every creature found comfort, nourishment, and peace. The moonlight shifted slowly across the water, casting long, soft shadows that danced upon the white alabaster pillars of the gazebo. The air remained pleasantly warm, wrapped in the comforting scent of jasmine, cedar, and fresh water. Amira felt a wave of gentle slumber wash over her, heavy and sweet, inviting her to rest her weary eyes. The desert deer resting by the water's edge added to the quiet harmony of the sanctuary. Watching the mother deer tenderly guard her sleeping fawn beneath the flowering orange tree brought a warm sense of comfort to Amira. Here, in this hidden haven, all living creatures lived without fear, held in the gentle embrace of nature's peace. The nightingales sang their slow bedtime songs from the olive branches, lulling the entire valley into deep slumber. Feel the soothing coolness of the night air as it brushes softly across your skin, bringing the delicate fragrances of night-blooming lilies, sweet cedar, and fresh spring water. Your mind is quiet, serene, and clear as you sink into blissful sleep. Near the southern edge of the lake stretched a quiet garden where night-blooming moon-lilies flourished in abundance. These magnificent white flowers possessed large, velvet petals that opened fully only under the light of the stars. As their petals unfolded, they released a delicate honey-like perfume that drifted across the waters, soothing every breath taken in the valley. Amira walked quietly along a pebble path that meandered through the lilies. The moon-lilies glowed with a faint luminescence, illuminating the dark soil beneath them. Tiny blue fireflies hovered among the blossoms, pulsing in a slow, rhythmic unison like small lanterns guiding travelers through a tranquil dream. Zephyr stepped gently beside the flowers, sniffing curious blossoms with his damp nose. He paused to watch a blue firefly flutter upward into the lower branches of a wild olive tree. The tree stood ancient and twisted, its silver-green leaves rustling with a quiet, comforting whispering sound as the gentle valley breeze played through its canopy. The harmony of the garden was absolute. Every plant, creature, and stream existed in perfect alignment, forming an ecosystem of pure quietude. Amira sat down upon a smooth limestone ledge at the garden's edge, letting her feet rest near the edge of a shallow stream that fed into the main lake. The stream water rippled gently around smooth quartz stones, making a soft clinking sound like distant crystal bells. Amira dipped her hands into the stream, letting the cool water wash over her wrists. The cooling sensation was deeply relaxing, releasing any remaining tension from her arms and shoulders. Walking through the garden of moon-lilies was like walking through a dream of light and fragrance. The large white petals opened under the silver moon, releasing a sweet honey perfume into the night air. Blue fireflies hovered among the blossoms like tiny floating stars, their gentle pulsing lights guiding Amira along the pebble path. Every step in the garden brought a deeper sense of tranquility and quiet joy. With every slow breath, the mind settles into a deeper realm of quiet rest. The soft night wind whispering over the cool sand dunes carries away all thoughts of the busy world, leaving only a sense of profound stillness and peace. The heart beats slow and steady, matching the eternal rhythm of the desert night. At the northern curve of the cliff walls, 3 slender waterfalls tumbled gracefully down from high rock ledges. Unlike roaring mountain torrents, these waterfalls fell in gentle ribbons of liquid crystal, breaking into soft mist before reaching the turquoise pools below. The mist caught the silvery light of the full moon, creating a subtle lunar rainbow, a shimmering arc of pale lavender, mint green, and soft blue that hovered above the pool like a bridge of light. Amira approached the base of the waterfalls, feeling the fine spray of water settle gently on her skin like a cooling veil. Around the waterfall pool grew lush clusters of emerald ferns and wild lotus plants. The large round lotus leaves held big droplets of water that glistened like liquid pearls. When the breeze shifted, a single drop would roll off the edge of a leaf, plunging into the water with a soft, resonant plop that echoed musically off the rock wall. Zephyr sat beside a flat mossy rock near the pool, watching the mist rise into the air. He let out a soft yawn, stretched his front legs out long, and rested his head on his paws once more. His eyes were heavy with sleep, reflecting the peaceful atmosphere of the cascade. Amira breathed in the crisp, oxygen-rich air generated by the waterfall. Her lungs expanded fully, feeling refreshed and renewed. The continuous sound of the falling water acted as a natural melody, clearing away lingering thoughts and filling her mind with a deep, undisturbed calm. The three slender waterfalls falling down the purple cliffs looked like ribbons of spun silver in the moonlight. The fine spray of water created a lunar rainbow that hovered above the turquoise pool, shimmering in delicate shades of lavender and blue. Amira stood near the edge, breathing in the fresh, cool mist. The continuous sound of falling water washed away all remaining mental noise, leaving her mind as clear and calm as the pool itself. As you listen to the quiet narrative of starlight and soft winds, imagine the gentle warmth of the oasis surrounding you. Every muscle in your shoulders and neck softens and releases all tension. You are safe, calm, and completely sheltered in this quiet garden of peace. Beside the waterfall pool stood a massive wall of smooth purple sandstone. Carved deep into the stone were ancient inscriptions written in a forgotten language of graceful, flowing curves. Amira traced her fingers over the carved symbols, feeling the warmth retained by the stone from centuries of sunshine. Though she could not read the exact words, the intent of the carvers was unmistakably clear. Surrounding the inscriptions were carved pictures of trees, stars, resting animals, and hands held open in peace. It was a monument erected by ancient guardians to honor the sacred silence of Al-Zahra, reminding all who visited to honor the quietness of the sanctuary. Amira felt a deep connection to those ancient carvers. Across hundreds of years, their desire for peace, beauty, and quietude remained alive in this hidden valley. The oasis was a gift passed down through time, an eternal sanctuary preserved by nature for all living things. She leaned her forehead gently against the warm sandstone wall, offering a quiet thought of gratitude to the land and its ancient protectors. The stone seemed to respond with a subtle warmth that comforted her heart. Zephyr walked over and leaned softly against her side, his warm fur pressing against her leg. Together, they stood in quiet communion with the past, knowing that some places on earth were truly timeless, existing beyond the reach of change and turmoil. Tracing the ancient carved inscriptions on the sandstone wall, Amira felt a deep connection to the generations of wanderers who had found refuge here before her. The carved symbols of stars, trees, and peaceful hands spoke a timeless message of sanctuary and rest. She pressed her palm against the warm rock, offering silent gratitude for the quiet haven preserved through the centuries by the earth. In this sanctuary of silence, there are no obligations, no rush, and no worries. The vast starry sky stretches overhead like an endless ocean of quiet beauty, inviting you to let go of wakefulness and surrender to restful sleep. Pacing slowly away from the waterfall wall, Amira and Zephyr entered a grove of ancient fig trees. The branches of the trees reached wide, forming a dense green canopy that arched overhead like the vault of a cathedral. Hanging from the branches were plump, sweet figs that gave off a rich, warm aroma of honey and autumn fruit. The ground within the grove was covered in a thick blanket of soft clover and dried sweetgrass. Walking across it was silent and comfortable, like stepping on a plush rug. The air inside the grove was warm, sheltered from any cool drafts that occasionally swept over the higher cliff tops. Amira sat down at the base of a giant fig tree whose trunk was wider than 3 people standing together. The bark was smooth and dark, providing a sturdy, comfortable backrest. Zephyr curled up directly in the crook of the tree's roots, nesting into the soft clover with a contented sigh. High above in the canopy, a family of small desert dormice moved quietly among the leaves, gathering ripe seeds and sleeping in cozy nest hollows. They looked down at Amira with curiosity, their dark eyes shining like tiny beads, before returning to their gentle nocturnal activities. Amira picked a low-hanging fig that had fallen onto a bed of leaves. She broke it open, tasting its sweet, nourishing fruit. The taste was rich and soothing, satisfying her hunger with the pure harvest of the oasis. She closed her eyes, letting her body settle deeply into the sturdy embrace of the ancient tree. Nested beneath the canopy of ancient fig trees, Amira felt completely sheltered from the world. The broad leaves rustled softly in the warm breeze, emitting a sweet fragrance of honey and ripe fruit. The soft clover beneath her provided a plush, comfortable cushion. Zephyr slept peacefully among the tree roots, his body warm and relaxed. In this cozy grove, time stood still, replaced by an abiding sense of safety and quiet contentment. The silver fox Zephyr rests his head comfortably, his breathing slow, deep, and peaceful. Beside him under the moonlit canopy of date palms and blooming jasmine, every breath brings a feeling of restorative stillness. As the hour approached midnight, a unique phenomenon occurred above the secret oasis. The crescent moon reached its highest point directly above the center of the hidden amphitheater, shining through a natural opening in the upper rock dome. The moonlight hit the center of the lake at a precise angle, causing the turquoise water to glow with an intense, radiant luminescence. Light reflected off the water and projected onto the surrounding cliff walls, creating dancing patterns of bright silver and soft gold that shifted like liquid silk. Amira opened her eyes to witness the enchanting display. The entire amphitheater was bathed in a gentle, warm glow that illuminated every leaf, flower, and stone in ethereal brilliance. It was as if the night sky had brought a star down to rest upon the water. Zephyr opened his eyes slightly, watching the ripples of light play across the trunk of the fig tree. He let out a gentle sigh of wonder, his ears flicking softly as a warm breeze swept through the grove, carrying the scent of sweet blossoms and fresh rain. Amira felt tears of quiet joy fill her eyes at the sheer beauty of the scene. In this moment, all sense of separation between herself and the natural world dissolved. She was a quiet part of the desert, part of the starlight, part of the peaceful water flowing through the earth. When the moon reached its zenith above the open dome of the amphitheater, the lake glowed with a breathtaking turquoise radiance. Patterns of bright silver light danced across the sandstone cliffs, creating a fluid tapestry of movement and color. Amira watched in awe, her heart filled with quiet wonder at the beauty of the natural world. It was a moment of pure magic, etched forever into her memory. Feel the soothing coolness of the night air as it brushes softly across your skin, bringing the delicate fragrances of night-blooming lilies, sweet cedar, and fresh spring water. Your mind is quiet, serene, and clear as you sink into blissful sleep. Beyond the fig grove lay a secluded courtyard paved with smooth river stones of red, white, and black. At the center of the courtyard sat a low stone fountain carved in the shape of an unfolding lotus blossom. Water rose gently from the center of the lotus, spilling over its carved petals into a shallow circular basin. This was known as the Sanctuary of Silence, a place designed specifically for quiet reflection and deep rest. Around the fountain stood low marble benches covered in soft woven reed mats that remained clean and dry. Amira walked to the fountain and sat down on one of the reed mats. The sound of the lotus fountain was distinct from the waterfalls. It was a soft, rhythmic trickle, like a slow liquid heartbeat that echoed calmly across the stone courtyard. Zephyr trotted up to the fountain and rested his front paws on the low marble rim, taking a small drink of the flowing spring water. He then hopped onto the marble bench beside Amira, lying down on his side with his legs stretched out comfortably. Amira placed her hand on Zephyr's warm flank, feeling the slow, even rise and fall of his chest. She closed her eyes and focused entirely on the sound of the lotus fountain. With each trickle of water, her thoughts grew lighter, drifting away like leaves floating down a quiet river. At the lotus fountain in the Sanctuary of Silence, water trickled softly over carved stone petals into a shallow marble basin. The sound was delicate and rhythmic, echoing calmly across the stone courtyard. Sitting on a reed mat beside the fountain, Amira felt her thoughts slow down to match the trickling water. Every breath was quiet, deep, and satisfying, releasing every last trace of weariness. With every slow breath, the mind settles into a deeper realm of quiet rest. The soft night wind whispering over the cool sand dunes carries away all thoughts of the busy world, leaving only a sense of profound stillness and peace. The heart beats slow and steady, matching the eternal rhythm of the desert night. The temperature within the oasis remained perfectly constant, held in a comfortable balance by the surrounding rock walls and the natural thermal springs below. The night air felt like soft velvet against the skin, neither too warm nor too cool, creating an ideal environment for complete physical ease. Amira relaxed her shoulders, letting go of all residual tension accumulated during her travels. She unlaced her boots slightly to allow her feet to rest fully, feeling the soothing cool breeze brush across her ankles. Every sense was soothed by the environment. The gentle visual palette of silver moonlight and glowing flora relaxed the eyes, the soft sound of trickling water and rustling leaves calmed the ears, the sweet fragrances of jasmine and cedar nourished the breath, and the soft grass and smooth stone comforted the body. Zephyr let out a quiet, rhythmic snore, completely lost in a peaceful sleep. Amira smiled softly, stroking his silver fur with gentle, slow movements. The bond between them was a source of great comfort, a shared experience of quiet trust and companionable quiet. The stars above shifted almost imperceptibly as the earth rotated through the quiet dark of space. The constellation of the Wise Shepherd rose above the eastern cliff edge, its bright stars twinkling like a beacon of watchfulness over the sleeping world. The velvet night air embraced the oasis in a constant, comfortable warmth. Unlacing her boots and resting her feet upon the soft grass, Amira felt an overwhelming wave of physical ease spread through her body. Zephyr purred softly in his sleep beside her, his quiet snoring adding to the peaceful atmosphere. Above them, the stars burned with steady, watchful light, guarding the quiet sanctuary through the night. As you listen to the quiet narrative of starlight and soft winds, imagine the gentle warmth of the oasis surrounding you. Every muscle in your shoulders and neck softens and releases all tension. You are safe, calm, and completely sheltered in this quiet garden of peace. Amira walked back toward the edge of the central lake, wanting to sit near the water's edge once more. She found a broad, smooth granite slab that extended slightly over the clear turquoise water, providing a perch right above the mirror-like surface. She sat down cross-legged on the granite slab, looking down into the water. In the calm surface, she could see her own reflection framed by the vast starry sky behind her. Her face looked serene, free from fatigue, her eyes reflecting the quiet light of the moon. As she watched, a gentle ripple spread across the lake from a distant spring. Her reflection softened and merged with the starlight, creating a mesmerizing pattern of shimmering silver lines. It felt as though she were gazing into a portal of peaceful dreams. Zephyr padded quietly onto the granite slab, walking up beside her and resting his head in her lap. Amira wrapped her arms around him, resting his chin on his soft head. They sat together in perfect silence, two gentle souls anchored in an ocean of quiet tranquility. The water below held no secrets, only clarity and reflection. Amira realized that peace was not something to be hunted or captured, it was a natural state that emerged whenever the mind became as still and clear as the waters of Al-Zahra. Sitting on the smooth granite slab extending over the lake, Amira looked down into her own reflection surrounded by starlight. The water was so clear and still that the sky above and the water below seemed to merge into a single infinite space. Resting her arm around Zephyr, she realized that true peace was not found in far-off destinations, but in the quiet stillness of the present moment. In this sanctuary of silence, there are no obligations, no rush, and no worries. The vast starry sky stretches overhead like an endless ocean of quiet beauty, inviting you to let go of wakefulness and surrender to restful sleep. As the hour grew late, all the distinct sounds of the oasis seemed to weave together into a single, seamless lullaby. The distant cascading of the waterfalls, the soft trickling of the lotus fountain, the rhythmic rustling of the palm fronds, and the low, sweet song of the nightingales created a tapestry of natural sound. This natural symphony possessed a specific, hypnotic quality that encouraged deep mental relaxation. It was the ancient voice of the earth, speaking a language of safety, comfort, and restorative rest that every living creature understood intuitively. Amira felt her breath becoming slower and deeper, matching the slow rhythm of the night breeze. With every inhale, she drew in the sweet, oxygenated air of the gardens. With every exhale, she released all thoughts of tomorrow, resting completely in the beauty of the present. Zephyr's breathing was long and deep, his body completely limp and comfortable in her lap. The silver fox was in a state of absolute peace, trusting implicitly in the safety of the sanctuary and the presence of his companion. The silver moonlight cast long, soft shadows across the granite slab, wrapping them in a cocoon of shade and light. Amira felt a heavy, pleasing warmth spread through her limbs, inviting her to lie down and surrender to full sleep. The combined symphony of waterfalls, trickling fountains, rustling palm leaves, and distant nightingales created a hypnotic lullaby that filled the entire valley. Amira closed her eyes, letting the natural sounds wash over her senses. Her breathing grew long, slow, and shallow as her body prepared for deep sleep. Beside her, Zephyr slept in absolute trust and comfort. The silver fox Zephyr rests his head comfortably, his breathing slow, deep, and peaceful. Beside him under the moonlit canopy of date palms and blooming jasmine, every breath brings a feeling of restorative stillness. Deciding it was time to rest for the remainder of the night, Amira carried Zephyr gently toward the central alabaster gazebo. The cedarwood bench inside was wide and comfortable, lined with clean, fragrant reed padding that made a cozy bed. Amira laid out a soft wool blanket from her satchel across the bench. She placed Zephyr gently on one end of the bench, where he immediately curled back up into his cozy circle without waking. Amira lay down beside him, resting her head upon a soft travel pillow. She pulled the edge of the wool blanket over them both, feeling instantly warm, secure, and comfortable. Through the carved archways of the gazebo, she could look out across the entire lit expanse of the crystal lake and the glowing cliff walls beyond. The roof of the gazebo provided a sense of shelter while remaining open to the night air and the starlight above. It was the perfect resting place, combining the comfort of a home with the wild beauty of nature. Amira rested her hands over her chest, feeling the steady, calm beat of her heart. She took 3 slow, deep breaths, letting each breath sink deeper into her body, releasing every muscle into full relaxation. Lying on the cedar bench inside the alabaster gazebo, wrapped in a soft wool blanket with Zephyr curled beside her, Amira felt warmer and more comfortable than she had in weeks. Through the open archways of the gazebo, the tranquil lake and lit cliff walls created a peaceful view. She closed her eyes, taking 3 deep, calming breaths, sinking happily into the plush bed. Feel the soothing coolness of the night air as it brushes softly across your skin, bringing the delicate fragrances of night-blooming lilies, sweet cedar, and fresh spring water. Your mind is quiet, serene, and clear as you sink into blissful sleep. The darkness of the late night was soft and comforting, like a warm velvet quilt folded gently over the earth. The stars continued to shine brightly through the open dome of the sky, their light softened by the high, delicate clouds drifting silently overhead. Amira watched a brilliant blue star twinkle near the peak of the northern cliff. Its steady pulse of light seemed to synchronize with her slow breathing. In and out. In and out. The world outside the oasis faded into a distant memory, irrelevant and far away. Her eyelids grew heavier with every passing moment. The beautiful images of her journey, the golden dunes, the quartz riverbed, the singing sandstone canyons, the glowing cleft, and the crystal lake, played softly in her mind like a gentle series of painted slides. Zephyr let out a long, contented sigh in his sleep, his warm fur pressing comfortably against her side. His peaceful energy reinforced her own sense of safety and tranquility. The waterfalls continued their quiet, sweet song in the distance, a continuous background melody that smoothed away the final edges of wakefulness. Amira felt herself sinking gently down into a sea of quiet, dreamless peace. As the late-night hours folded over the oasis, the dark sky became a soft quilt of deep indigo. The stars shone like gentle night lights through the quiet dome. Amira's mind drifted peacefully through golden memories of dunes, canyons, and crystal waters. The quiet warmth of the blanket and the steady breathing of her silver fox companion guided her into a world of sweet, dreamless rest. With every slow breath, the mind settles into a deeper realm of quiet rest. The soft night wind whispering over the cool sand dunes carries away all thoughts of the busy world, leaving only a sense of profound stillness and peace. The heart beats slow and steady, matching the eternal rhythm of the desert night. In this final hour before the first blush of dawn, the oasis reached its peak of stillness. The breeze died down completely, leaving the leaves of the palm trees motionless and the surface of the lake smooth as polished obsidian. The sky turned a rich, deep midnight blue, holding the stars like glowing diamonds set in dark velvet. The secret oasis of Al-Zahra rested cradled within its ancient sandstone cliffs, a hidden jewel of life and tranquility guarded by the earth itself. Amira was now drifting on the peaceful edge of sleep, her mind floating lightly between wakefulness and deep dreamland. She felt entirely safe, entirely whole, and completely at peace. She knew that when dawn eventually came, the oasis would remain as beautiful as ever, but for now, the night belonged to rest. Every cell in her body absorbed the healing quietness of the sanctuary. The weariness of long travels was gone, replaced by a deep reservoir of calm energy that would stay with her for years to come. She softly closed her eyes, letting the silver light of the stars fade into the dark warmth behind her eyelids. The quiet rhythm of her breath joined the quiet rhythm of the sleeping oasis, perfectly attuned to the ancient heartbeat of the world. In the profound quiet before dawn, the oasis reached its deepest stillness. The breeze vanished, leaving the surface of the lake smooth as glass. Amira floated on the edge of sleep, her body completely relaxed and her mind at peace. The ancient sandstone cliffs held the valley in a safe, eternal embrace, protecting every sleeping creature within. As you listen to the quiet narrative of starlight and soft winds, imagine the gentle warmth of the oasis surrounding you. Every muscle in your shoulders and neck softens and releases all tension. You are safe, calm, and completely sheltered in this quiet garden of peace. As Amira slept deeply, a soft warmth settled over the gazebo. The secret oasis continued its silent work of nourishing life and bestowing peace. Deep underground, the crystal springs flowed steadily, filtering through layers of ancient quartz to supply the turquoise lake with pure, refreshing water. The moon-lilies held their white petals open to the midnight sky, breathing their sweet perfume into the warm valley air. The desert nightingales settled into their cozy nests among the olive branches, their song slowing to a quiet finish as the night reached its deepest quiet. Zephyr slept soundly beside Amira, his chest rising and falling in perfect harmony with hers. The silver fox was completely at rest, dreaming of endless meadows of soft clover and cool streams of liquid light. The ancient sandstone walls stood as silent sentinels, shielding the valley from all harsh winds and sandy storms, preserving this sacred refuge of quietness for generations past and generations yet to come. The beauty of Al-Zahra was timeless, untouched by the passage of years or the changing of empires. It remained forever a haven of peace, a secret garden waiting quietly under the starlight for all who sought rest and renewal. While Amira slept deeply, the hidden springs continued to flow, nourishing the gardens of night-blooming flowers and ancient fruit trees. The beauty of Al-Zahra remained untouched by time, a secret haven of peace preserved by nature. In the quiet gazebo, the silver fox and the young traveler rested in complete harmony with the ancient heartbeat of the desert. In this sanctuary of silence, there are no obligations, no rush, and no worries. The vast starry sky stretches overhead like an endless ocean of quiet beauty, inviting you to let go of wakefulness and surrender to restful sleep. Hours later, as the deep indigo of night began its subtle transition toward the soft lavender and rose of early dawn, a gentle morning light touched the highest peaks of the sandstone cliffs. The stars slowly faded into the brightening sky, leaving only the morning star shining bright and clear in the east. The air in the oasis remained cool, sweet, and wonderfully fresh. A thin veil of silver mist hovered just above the calm surface of the turquoise lake, catching the first pale rays of sunlight and turning into shimmering gold. Amira stirred softly, opening her eyes to witness the peaceful birth of a new day. She felt completely rested, her mind crystal clear, her heart filled with profound peace and quiet joy. Zephyr stretched his legs luxuriously, opening his amber eyes and letting out a gentle morning yawn before licking Amira's hand in loving greeting. Amira sat up on the cedar bench, looking out over the glowing sanctuary. The secret oasis of Al-Zahra was just as magical in the soft morning light as it had been under the moonlit sky. She knew that no matter where her journeys might lead her in the future, the peace of this secret garden would remain forever in her heart. She took a long, deep breath of the morning air, smiling with quiet gratitude for the journey, the starlight, and the eternal sanctuary of the desert. And with that peaceful thought, as the morning sun warmed the golden cliffs, she embraced the quiet gift of a new day filled with endless calm and serene rest. When early dawn painted the cliff peaks in shades of rose and lavender, Amira awoke feeling completely renewed. The morning mist above the lake glowed like gold in the first light of day. Smiling at the gentle morning yawn of her loyal fox Zephyr, she knew that the peace of the secret oasis would live forever in her heart as a source of eternal calm and quiet strength. The silver fox Zephyr rests his head comfortably, his breathing slow, deep, and peaceful. Beside him under the moonlit canopy of date palms and blooming jasmine, every breath brings a feeling of restorative stillness.